Hi everyone. My name is Bella, investment student from UITMJ campus Sagamat. So today we're gonna learn on how company to be listed on stock market. Come and follow me. Firstly, what is stock market? The stock market lets investors participate in the financial achievement of the companies whose shares they hold. The stock market gives the flexibility to invest small or large amount and the choice of a vast number of different corporations and industries in which to invest. When companies are profitable, stock market investors make money through the dividends and by selling appreciated stocks at a profit called as capital gain. Stock exchange is a place, whether physical or electronic, where stocks and equity-linked product of listed companies are bought and sold. The stock market in any country is represented by an established body or exchange which facilitates the trading of shares under strict rules, regulations and guidelines. The Malaysian stock exchange is called Bursa Malaysia. Bursa Malaysia Berhad. Bursa Malaysia Berhad is an exchange holding company approved under Section 15 of the Capital Markets and Services Act 2007. It operates a fully integrated exchange, offering the complete range of exchange-related services including trading, clearing, settlement and depository services. There are many functions of Bursa Malaysia. Firstly, it's provide a marketplace for the transactions of securities. Secondly, it's provide a mechanism for determining the price of security. Thirdly, it's provide information on security price and volume of transactions. Fourth, it's provide mechanism for raising funds by companies. Lastly, it's provide a mechanism for listing new securities. There are three types of market in Bursa Malaysia. Firstly is main market, secondly is ace market and third one is leap market. There are many reasons for company to be listed on stock exchange. Firstly, to increase the confidence level of public. Once the company are listed, the reputation and credibility of a company enhanced. Secondly, it's for expansion of the company. Through listing, the listed company will be in better position to expand their operation overseas. Thirdly, additional funds. Through initial public offering, a company able to increase their capital or fund which to be used expansion or new project. Fourthly, higher profile. In addition, a listed company that is well managed and displays strong responsibility and has greater visibility and profile than one that not listed. Corporate disclosure policy. It is the duty of listed company to exercise the corporate disclosure policy where the listed company must disclose to the public all material information necessary for informed investing and to ensuring that investors those invest in securities enjoy equal access to such information. The reasons for corporate disclosure policy are: firstly, to make available to public information necessary for informed investing. Secondly, to ensure that all who invest in its securities enjoy equal access to such information. Third, it is a duty to listed company exercise the corporate disclosure policy. Listed company must adhere to the 6 corporate disclosure policies. First, policy on immediate public disclosure of material information. Second, policy on insider trading. Third, policy on unwarranted promotional disclosure activity. Fourth, policy on public dissemination. Fifth, policy on response to unusual market activity. And last, policy on clarifications, confirmation or denial of rumors or report. Penalties imposed by Bursa Malaysia when listed company breach of listing requirement. Number 1, a public reprimand. Number 2, suspension in the trading of the company's securities for any period of time. Number 3, prohibition of any sale in the company unless the sellers deliver the share certificate together with duly executed transfer from to his broker at time of entering into sale contract. Number 4, delisting the company from the official list of Bursa Malaysia. And any other penalties or condition of Bursa Malaysia that fit. There are 2 listing criteria for local and foreign company. In primary listing for local and foreign companies involved quantitative and qualitative criteria. Quantitative criteria. Aspect for profit test. For main market, they must have uninterrupted profit after tax of 3 to 5 full financial years with aggregate of at least 20 million. Then, profit after tax of at least 6 million for the most recent financial years. Meanwhile, for the ACE market, there is no minimum operating track record or profit requirement. For market capitalization test for main market, a total market cap of at least 500 million upon listing. Aspect for infrastructure project corporation test for main market is the company must have the right to build and operate a project in or outside Malaysia, with project cost not less than 500 million for which a concession or license has been awarded by government or agency with remaining license period at least 15 years. Aspect for IPO price for main market is minimum of 50 cents each, and then for ACE market there is no minimum. Aspect for public spread for main market, the company at least 25% PF the company's shares capital, and minimum of 1,000 public shareholders not less than 100 shares each. Meanwhile, for ACE market, at least 25% of the company's share capital and minimum of 200 public shareholders holding not less than 100 shares each. For BINTI Putra equity requirement for main market is allocation of 50% of the public spread requirement to BINTI Putra investors on best effort basis. Meanwhile, for ACE market, no requirement upon initial listing allocation on best effort enlarged issued and paid up share capital to BINTI Putra investors within 1 year after achieving main market profit track record or 5 years being listed on ACE market, whichever is the earlier. Move to qualitative criteria. For an aspect of sponsorship for main market is not applicable. Meanwhile, for the ACE market, it's engage a sponsor to assess the suitability for listing. And then, sponsors need to remain with the company for at least 3 years post-listing. Second, aspect of core business for main market, an identifiable core business which it has majority and management control. Core business should not be holding of investment in other listed companies. Then, for ACE market, core business should not be holding of investment in other listed companies. Management continuity and capability for main market, continuity of substantially the same management for at least 3 full financial years prior to submission. For market capitalization test, since the commencement of operations if less than 3 full financial years. Meanwhile, for ACE market, continuity and substantially the same management for at least 3 full financial years prior to submission or since it corporation if less than 3 years full financial years. Aspect of financial position and liquidity, for main market, sufficient level of working capital for at least 12 months, then positive cash flow from the operating activities, and no accumulated losses based on its latest audited balance sheet as at the date of submission. For ACE market, sufficient level of working capital for at least 12 months. Aspect of lock-up period for main market is where promoters entire shareholding for 6 months from the date of submission. Subsequent selling down with condition for companies listed under infrastructure project corporation test.
Meanwhile, for the ACE market, promoters entire shareholdings for 6 months from the date of admission, subsequent selling down with conditions.
Last aspect of transactions with related parties, for main market, the company must be based on terms and conditions which are not unfavorable to the company. All trade debts exceeding the normal credit period, all non-trade debts, owning by the interested persons to the company or its subsidiary companies must be fully settled prior to listing. Meanwhile, for the ACE market, the company must be satisfactorily addressed before submitting any listing application to the exchange. Sponsor must ensure all trade debts exceeding normal credit period and all non-trade debts owing by interested persons to the company or its subsidiary companies must be fully settled prior to listing. Quantitative criteria for LEAP market. From aspect profit test, there is no minimum operating track record or profit requirement. Second, from aspect public spread, at least 10% of the company's total number of ordinary shares at admission. Then, from aspect BINTI Putra requirement, there is no requirement at a point of listing. Qualitative criteria for LEAP market. From aspect sponsorship, the company engage an approved advisor to assess the suitability for listing. Second, secure and maintain the continuing advisor for at least 3 years post-listing. Then, in the aspect of core business is the company
need to have a clearly identifiable core business. C. Moratorium on shares for LEAP market. Promoter's entire shareholdings for 12 months from the date of admission. Next transaction with related parties, all trade debts exceeding the normal credit period or its subsidiary companies must be fully settled prior to listing. Last, types of investors is sophisticated.
To be listed on stock market, this particular company needs recommendations from sponsors that refer to investment banks. Firstly, Alliance Investment Bank Berhad. Second, Affin Hwang Investment Bank Berhad. Then, Hong Leong Investment Bank Berhad. Last, Am Investment Bank Berhad and many more. The listing process in Bursa Malaysia. The listing process will normally take 7 months, depending on the structure and complexity of the listing scheme. Upon approval, you will be given 6 months to complete your IPO exercise. The conceptual timeline for the listing process is as follows of Bursa Malaysia. Cost of listing. The cost of raising equity through an initial public offering vary for main market and ACE market. In general, the total of listing cost for ACE market may range from 1.5 million to 3 million. The listing cost for main market are usually higher, depending on the size and complexity of the case as well as the amount to be raised. Fees. Commission. Malaysia processing fee for main market application 80,000 plus 0.05% of the total market value of securities to be listed and nominal value of any additional securities issued or to be issued but not listed, subject to maximum 800,000 inclusive of fees for review of asset valuation, if any. Then, fee for registration of prospectus is 15,000. Listing fee for Bursa Malaysia is as follows. For watching this video. See you again.